The power of vulnerability, unleashing your authentic self for personal and professional success. Welcome to a journey of transformation, a journey that challenges our deepest assumptions about strength, success, and what it truly means to be human. Today, we're going to explore a concept that many of us have been taught to fear, to hide, to suppress. A concept that, when embraced, has the power to revolutionize our lives, our relationships, and our workplaces. We're talking about vulnerability. I'm thrilled to share with you the incredible insights I've gained from a recent interview with the remarkable Rana K. Rana is not just a visionary entrepreneur and thought leader. She's a catalyst for change, a beacon of authenticity in a world often shrouded in pretense. Her work has touched countless lives, inspiring individuals and organizations to embrace vulnerability as a pathway to innovation, connection, and unprecedented success. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Vulnerability in the cutthroat world of business, in our personal relationships, isn't that risky? Isn't that, well, vulnerable? But what if I told you that this very quality you've been taught to suppress could be the key to unlocking your true potential? Let's start by acknowledging a universal truth. We live in a world that often equates vulnerability with weakness. From a young age, we're conditioned to put on a brave face, to hide our emotions, to project strength at all costs. In our personal lives, we build walls to protect ourselves from hurt. In our professional lives, we don armor to shield ourselves from criticism or failure. But here's the thing. This armor, these walls we build, they don't just keep the bad stuff out. They keep everything out. They prevent us from forming genuine connections, from taking risks, from growing and evolving. They trap us in a cycle of fear and isolation. Rana shared a profound insight that resonated deeply with me. She said, vulnerability isn't about oversharing or being an open book. It's about having the courage to show up and be seen when we have no control over the outcome. Take a moment to let that sink in. How many times have you held back from sharing an idea at work because you were afraid it might be rejected? How often have you stopped yourself from expressing your true feelings in a relationship because you feared being judged or misunderstood? This fear of vulnerability is particularly prevalent in the workplace. We've been conditioned to believe that showing any sign of uncertainty or emotion is unprofessional. We put on our work face, leaving our authentic selves at the door. But what if we flip this script? What if, instead of seeing vulnerability as a liability, we recognize it as an asset? Rana shared a powerful example from her own experience as a business leader. Her company was facing a significant challenge, one that threatened the very foundation of their organization. The traditional approach would have been to put on a brave face, to project unwavering confidence to her team. Instead, she chose to be vulnerable. In a company-wide meeting, Rana openly acknowledged the difficulties they were facing. She shared her concerns, her hopes, and even her fears. She invited her team to do the same, to bring their whole selves to the table. The result? It was nothing short of transformative. Team members who had previously been hesitant to speak up now felt empowered to share their ideas. People who had been working in silos began to collaborate. The atmosphere of openness and trust that Rana fostered through her vulnerability led to innovative solutions that not only solved their immediate problem, but propelled the company to new heights. This story illustrates a crucial point. Vulnerability is not just about sharing our weaknesses or fears. It's about creating an environment where people feel safe to be their authentic selves, to take risks, to fail, and to grow. But let's be clear. Embracing vulnerability is not easy. It requires courage. It requires us to step out of our comfort zones and face our fears head on. It means being willing to fail in front of others, to admit when we don't have all the answers, to ask for help when we need it. Rana emphasized that this journey towards vulnerability is not a one-time event, but a continuous process. It's about making a conscious choice every day to show up authentically, to be present, to engage with our whole hearts. Now, you might be wondering, how do I start? How do I cultivate vulnerability in my life and work? Rana shared some powerful strategies that I'd like to pass on to you. First, start small. You don't need to bare your soul to everyone you meet. Begin by identifying safe spaces and trusted individuals with whom you can practice being more open and authentic. Maybe it's a close friend, a supportive colleague, or a mentor. Start by sharing something you've been hesitant to express. It could be a fear, a hope, or a challenge you're facing. Second, practice self-compassion. Often our fear of vulnerability stems from harsh self-judgment. Be kind to yourself. Recognize that imperfection is part of the human experience. When you stumble or make mistakes, treat yourself with the same compassion you would offer a friend. Remember, vulnerability is not about being perfect. It's about being authentic. Third, reframe your perspective on failure. Instead of seeing failure as something to be avoided at all costs, view it as a necessary part of growth and learning. When you share your failures and the lessons you've learned from them, you not only grow personally, but also create space for others to do the same. Rana shared a story of a product launch that didn't go as planned. Instead of hiding this failure, she openly discussed it with her team, analyzing what went wrong and how they could improve. This openness led to valuable insights that informed their future strategies. Fourth, actively listen. Vulnerability isn't just about sharing, it's also about receiving. When others open up to you, listen without judgment. Create a safe space for them to be authentic. This reciprocal vulnerability is the foundation of deep, meaningful connections. Rana emphasized the importance of holding space for others, allowing them to express themselves fully without trying to fix or change their experience. Fifth, and perhaps most importantly, lead by example. Whether you're a CEO, a team leader, or simply a colleague, when you choose to be vulnerable, you give others permission to do the same. You create a culture of trust, openness, and innovation. Rana shared how her willingness to admit when she didn't have all the answers encouraged her team to be more honest about their own limitations, leading to more collaborative problem solving. As I reflect on my conversation with Rana, I'm struck by the transformative power of vulnerability. It's not just a personal trait, it's a leadership skill, a business strategy, and a pathway to more fulfilling relationships and a more authentic life. But here's the thing: embracing vulnerability doesn't mean we'll never feel fear or uncertainty again. In fact, Rana pointed out that feeling vulnerable is often a sign that we're pushing ourselves out of our comfort zones, that we're growing and evolving. She shared a powerful metaphor that I'd like to pass on to you. Imagine vulnerability as a muscle. Like any muscle, it gets stronger with use. The more we practice being vulnerable, the more comfortable we become with it. And as we become more comfortable with vulnerability, we open ourselves up to incredible opportunities for growth, connection, and innovation. Now, I want to address a concern that might be bubbling up for some of you. You might be thinking, look, this all sounds great in theory, but in the real world, won't showing vulnerability make me appear weak? Won't it put me at a disadvantage? Rana had a fascinating perspective on this. She argued that in today's rapidly changing business landscape, the ability to be vulnerable is actually becoming a competitive advantage. In a world where information is readily available and technology is constantly evolving, the companies and individuals who thrive are those who can adapt quickly, learn from failures, and foster genuine connections. Think about it. In an age of artificial intelligence and automation, what sets us apart as humans is our ability to empathize, to connect on an emotional level, to be creative and innovative. And these qualities flourish in an environment of openness and vulnerability. Rana shared an example from her experience working with various organizations. She noticed a stark difference between companies that embraced vulnerability and those that didn't. The companies that encouraged open communication, that allowed for mistakes and learning, that fostered an environment where people felt safe to be their authentic selves. These were the companies that were more innovative, more adaptable, and ultimately more successful. On the other hand, companies that maintained a culture of fear, where employees felt they had to project perfection at all times, often struggled with low morale, high turnover, and a lack of innovation. In one particularly striking case, Rana worked with a tech startup that had initially prided itself on its tough culture. Employees were expected to work long hours without complaint, to always have the right answers, and to never show weakness. The result? A toxic environment where creativity was stifled, collaboration was minimal, and burnout was rampant. Rana helped this company implement a radical shift towards vulnerability. They started with leadership training, teaching executives and managers how to open up about their own challenges and uncertainties. They implemented regular failure forums where team members could share mistakes and lessons learned without fear of repercussion. They even redesigned their performance review process to include discussions about personal growth and areas for improvement. The transformation was remarkable. Within a year, employee satisfaction scores had skyrocketed. Innovation increased as people felt more comfortable sharing crazy ideas. Collaboration improved as team members felt safe asking for help when needed. And perhaps most surprisingly to the company's leadership, their bottom line improved as well. They were able to attract and retain top talent, improve their products based on honest feedback, and build stronger relationships with clients through authentic communication. This brings us to an important point. Vulnerability is not just about individual growth, it's about creating a culture of trust and authenticity that benefits everyone. When we embrace vulnerability in our personal lives, we foster deeper, more meaningful relationships. When we bring vulnerability into our workplaces, we create environments where creativity flourishes, where people feel empowered to take risks and innovate. But let's be real for a moment. Embracing vulnerability is not always going to be comfortable. There will be times when it feels scary, when we worry about being judged or rejected. Rana emphasized that this discomfort is normal and even necessary. It's a sign that we're pushing ourselves to grow. She shared a powerful quote that resonated with me. Courage is not the absence of fear, but rather the judgment that something else is more important than fear. In the context of vulnerability, this means recognizing that the potential for growth, connection, and authenticity is more important than our fear of being judged or rejected. Rana shared a personal story that illustrates this point beautifully. Early in her career, she was working on a high stakes project for a major client. As the deadline approached, she realized that they weren't going to be able to deliver everything they had promised. The traditional approach would have been to work around the clock, cut corners, and hope the client wouldn't notice the shortcomings. Instead, Rana chose vulnerability. She called the client and openly admitted that they had overcommitted. She explained the challenges they were facing and proposed a revised plan. She was terrified. This was a make or break client for her company, and she was essentially admitting failure. The client's response surprised her. Not only were they appreciative of her honesty, but they also opened up about similar challenges they were facing internally. This vulnerable exchange led to a deeper partnership. The client worked with Rana's team to reprioritize the project goals, resulting in a final product that actually better met their needs. Moreover, this client became a long-term partner and advocate for Rana's company, often citing their transparent communication as a key reason for their continued collaboration. This story highlights a crucial truth. Vulnerability, when practiced authentically and appropriately, doesn't push people away. It draws them closer. It builds trust. It creates space for real, meaningful connection and collaboration. As we near the end of our time together, I want to leave you with a challenge that Rana posed to me and that I now pose to you. For the next week, I want you to practice intentional vulnerability. This doesn't mean oversharing or forcing intimacy where it doesn't belong. Instead, it means one, sharing an idea at work, even if you're not sure it's perfect. Two, admitting when you don't know something and asking for help or clarification. Three, expressing genuine appreciation to someone in your life, even if it feels a bit uncomfortable. Four, acknowledging a mistake you've made and sharing what you've learned from it. Five, opening up to a trusted friend or colleague about a challenge you're facing. Remember, the goal isn't to be vulnerable for vulnerability's sake. The goal is to create deeper connections, to foster trust, to open ourselves up to growth and learning. As you embark on this challenge, I want you to pay attention to how it feels. Notice the discomfort, but also notice the moments of connection, the sense of relief that comes from being authentic, the opportunities for growth that arise. Rana's final words to me were powerful, and I want to share them with you. Vulnerability is not about winning or losing. It's about having the courage to show up and be seen. It's about recognizing that we are all imperfect, all struggling, all human. And it's in this shared humanity that we find our greatest strength. As we conclude, I want to leave you with a call to action. A call to embrace vulnerability, not just as a personal practice, but as a catalyst for change in your life, your relationships, and your work. Imagine a world where we no longer hide behind masks of perfection, a world where we have the courage to share our ideas, even when they're not fully formed, where we admit our mistakes and learn from them openly, where we ask for help when we need it, and offer support without judgment when others reach out to us. This world is not a utopian fantasy. It's a possibility that lies within our grasp, but it requires each of us to take that first step, to be the one who says, I don't have all the answers, to be the one who admits, I made a mistake, and here's what I learned, to be the one who asks, can you help me understand this better? By embracing vulnerability, we don't just change ourselves, we change the world around us. We create spaces where innovation can flourish, where genuine connections can form, where we can all bring our full, authentic selves to everything we do. So I challenge you, starting today, make a commitment to vulnerability. Choose authenticity over perfection. Choose courage over comfort. Choose connection over isolation. It won't always be easy. There will be moments of doubt, of fear, of uncertainty. But remember, these moments are not signs of weakness. They are opportunities for growth, for connection, for transformation. You have within you the power to create ripples of change that can transform your life, your relationships, your workplace, and beyond. All it takes is the courage to be vulnerable, to be seen, to be authentically you. As you leave here today, carry with you this truth. Your vulnerability is not your weakness, it is your greatest strength, your path to authentic connection, and your key to unlocking your full potential. The world needs your authentic self. It's time to let it shine. Thank you.